just wanted to do a quick review of what we've learned. So I know it's the end of day 2 and we're all very tired and it looks like 90% of us have left, but just a quick recap. I think we've come a long way, so let's just take a look at some of the stuff that we've covered at Zoholics. So on day 1, we started with Vijay, and he was talking about abstraction and how really that is the value that Zoho Creator is bringing you, is that you don't have to worry about all of the nitty-gritty details and all of the implementation of running servers. All of that stuff is way too complicated and no one really wants to do it anyways. So we cut out all of that stuff, and in the end, we give you something like Zoho Creator. And this process is not fully complete. Obviously, there's still a lot of learning you have to do to use Zoho Creator, but it's something that we are continually striving towards. And so if you stick around for tomorrow, that's going to be a big theme of the day, is what's coming up in Zoho Creator, what are we changing, what are we making easier. So that'll be really exciting, and there will be some fun sessions. You might even get to see the ping pong app that Taylor and I love talking about. So that'll be really fun, and I hope you guys are here for that. So yeah, again, this is just kind of the goal of the future of Zoho Creator, is that we want to bring everyone's skill set, we want to make available to the people who have a lower skill set. So if you're a Power developer, we want to bring those skills down to someone who maybe isn't a Power developer. If you're a Power user and you maybe know some HTML and stuff, we want to bring those skills down to the people that have never even used HTML. So we're still working on it, but I think we've already made some pretty good progress. So then I came on, talked about planning applications, and if you'll remember, there are 3 steps. You want to ask yourself, what information do you need that you're not already getting? What work is a waste of your time that doesn't need to be wasting your time? And what do you want to learn from all of this information that you collect that you could learn faster or that you're not learning at all? So I hope that sitting here at the end of day 2 that you've come up with a plan. And I hope that you've started to figure out how that plan works. So let's just briefly recap some of the things we learned and how they can be used to solve these problems. So there's app creation, and this really has 3 parts. There's forms. You collect information. You're giving people something to use, something to work with. And then there's tables. So every time somebody does something with your form, it's getting added to a table. This is also called records, one record in a table. And there's all these different words that we use to describe this, but ultimately it's all the same thing. And I know this is something I was confused about a lot when I started using Creator. You know, sometimes it's even called a row, and that actually goes back to spreadsheets. So when you fill out a spreadsheet and it has all these different columns, and there's, you know, the name column and the email column and all that. So you fill out a whole row of that, and that's one record. One person has one name, they have one email, they have one phone number. You're creating a row. So anyways, that's all pretty ugly, and it's just information in its purest form. But what if we want to represent that information? We need something else, and that's why we have reports. This is for analyzing your information. So let's take a look at some of those things. Forms, pretty ugly, but we're working on the interface too, so that's something we're going to announce tomorrow, is that we're changing how forms look in Zoho Creator. Tables, that's also something that's going to get a nice little interface update, which you'll get to see if you stick around. And reports. So I don't know how in-depth we went into reports in this room, because I was actually over on the other side for part of the time, but there's some pretty cool stuff you can do with them, and you should really encourage you to just play around with them, because really it's not that hard to build some pretty cool reports in Zoho Creator. And there's other types of reports, of course. You can display things on a calendar. It's whatever works best for you. So then we moved on to form automation. So this is like how you get work done without needing to learn any scripting at all. So an example of that would be our visitor sign-in thing. Somebody signs in, the form sends a text message to the employee automatically. They pick that employee name, it knows what to do. Another example, maybe somebody's trying to buy products, they're using your app, so they're saying, okay, I want to buy pants, I'm not interested in shorts at all. They check the pants button, and all of the shorts go away. Another possibility with this is directing people somewhere else after they use your form. So maybe somebody makes an order, maybe somebody does something on your website, and you can direct them to a survey, or you can send them to just any link at all, actually, and you can find out what they thought about your business and their interactions. And then we talked a little bit about sharing. So sharing has a lot of different parts, actually. It sounds simple on the surface, but there can be a lot of complexity there. You can share applications entirely. So that's like if you want someone else to build your application with you. That's called sharing with developers. But you can also share applications just for people to use them. And so that's when you get a lot more decisions. You can decide, maybe this report has some sensitive information. I don't want every employee to be able to see that, so I'm not going to share this report with them. I'm going to keep that to myself. Same thing with forms. You can decide which users get to see which forms. And then there's this thing called the customer portal, and I know we didn't go over this in this room. This is actually something we talked about on the other side, and so I just thought I would tell you guys a little bit about that. The customer portal is something in, I think it's the enterprise plan. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, okay. In the enterprise plan of Creator. And it allows you to make an app that your customers can log into. So maybe you have like an order system online and you want your customers to be able to log in and see all of the things that they've bought from you in the past. So that could be a customer portal. And then we moved into day 2, today. So data validation. You learned how to control what kind of information is actually making it into your database. So when someone enters something in your form, you can actually halt them in their tracks and say, no, that's wrong, I don't want that in my system, and you can try and get them to fix the problem. So, for example, you could only accept orders if you have enough stock. You could use Deluge to check whether you have enough stock before you accept an order. Then we talked about some Deluge basics. There's conditionals and logic, so that's like if-thens. There's operators, you can do math, so you can add things, divide things. You can search for conditions, like maybe if one number is greater than another, or if two things are actually equal before you act with your application. So this is an example of logic. Maybe if the order is really, really big, it's over $10,000, then we give them a discount because we like that customer a lot. And down below, I just put the same thing in Deluge. So really, I mean, you can see the similarity between stating your business workflow as you would think of it. Okay, if somebody's giving me a lot of money, I'm going to give them a discount. And it doesn't look that much different when you put it into Deluge. It's really just an if-then, and we just use these parentheses and brackets to denote the then and the if. And then there's auto updates. So you could do things with Deluge, like updating inventory after an item has been shipped. You want to make sure you know when your inventory is running low. So if somebody orders 3 of them, you subtract 3 from your form that's keeping track of your inventory. Event scheduling. So you can use the dates that people enter in your form to trigger other actions. So maybe you need to trigger a purchase when your inventory gets low. So every few weeks, you got to remind yourself that you're going to buy some more inventory there. You can send email reminders for appointments. So maybe somebody signs up for an appointment. They say, I want to do it on this day at this time. And you'll send out an email that automatically goes to them a day before, so they know to come. So, ran through all that. I know we ran a little late today, so I had to go kind of fast there. This is just a little overview of the developer track. I know some of you might have sat in on a couple of those sessions, but I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on over there, and maybe, who knows, next Zoholics, you'll be in the developer track. So we talked about customer portal. I brought that up already. It's letting customers log into your app. Mobile-specific apps. So we talked more about how the applications you build in Zoho Creator automatically become mobile apps. And actually, if you stick around tomorrow, we're going to tell you a little bit more about this. There's a really exciting new thing coming out that will let you do even more with mobile apps. It'll let you get more control over their design and how you interact with them. So we also talked about pages and dashboards over there. That's really cool because that's when you can start completely redesigning the interface of your application. And so you don't have to feel like you're stuck to just our basic layout of forms and reports. You can actually change how all of that looks, and you can combine reports together to get the kind of information you need all on one screen. And another thing we talked about was integration with other applications. That can get a little complicated. We talked about the developer API. So that's like connecting other applications into Creator. And then we talked about some more advanced ways to make reports. So there's actually a lot of options out there, and you can connect with another Zoho product. It's called Zoho Reports, and that has some pretty cool features. It allows you to connect in to lots of other services. So that's just a little review of what happened over there, in case you were wondering. So now I want to change it up a little bit, and we're going to move into a question phase. So this is just like your chance to air your grievances, to tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. This is your chance to ask us anything at all, really. And we've got a couple creator experts in the back of the room still, so they can also help you out. And I really want this to be like a discussion. So, Vijay, did you have anything else you wanted to say to get us started?
Yeah, I wanted to actually, I'm on, right? Yeah, I wanted to actually ask here, how many people actually came here with the idea of actually building something before you got here, that you wanted to build something for your organization? Show of hands? Okay. Quite a few. Most of you, actually. So, how many people actually felt after coming here, you have a sense of, be honest with us, that you have a sense of confidence that you can actually go ahead and get that done? So that's, I want to see how many people believe that. Quite a number. Anybody feels the opposite? That, they came in here and maybe this is something they're doubting, that it doesn't work, or not sure about it? One? Okay. So perhaps we can help you later, outside of this? Okay. We'll take that off. One thing that'll be useful is for the people who raise their hands, maybe, is there a mic here we can pass around? Someone who can share with us, what were you thinking of doing? How would some of the stuff here make sense for your application? I think it'll be good for people to hear the stories of others. So maybe we take 3 or 4 here. We've been talking here for 2 days, and get a sense of what are the things you're looking to build, and help us understand that so we also understand the kinds of things you're trying to do with our products.
So for me, we've got some applications already that we're using that I've built, but I've not used Deluge at all. I've just used your tools, And so for me, today was helpful, and I utilized the sandbox this morning before I came, and so just diving deeper into Deluge and getting to know it is going to help me, I think, improve the application so that perhaps I can make it more automated, add some advanced features. That's really what I was looking for, and I think we accomplished that today. There's a lot more I need to explore and learn in that regard, but it was a start. So
Great. Could you share a bit about what type of application this was?
We use it for project database, so we collect a bunch of information on projects that we implement around the world. And so it's just a place to store a bunch of data. We also have forms, records that we keep, documents rather. So using Zoho to create it was fairly simple, but I know there's a lot more I can do with it. We don't really use it like scheduling. We don't use scheduling. We don't really use functions. So I think there's a lot we can do there. And I need to go back and now think, okay, now that I know how to use Deluge more, what can I do with this application?
Okay, I'm going to follow up one more question to you.
Yeah.
Is do you have the need to connect this application you're building to anything else that's already in your system or other applications you use?
Maybe. I don't know yet. We do have other software we use. We don't use anything else in Zoho. Creator's all we use with Zoho. We've thought about using Zoho projects and CRM. And then other software we have like Microsoft Dynamics for finance and accounting. So perhaps we can use that as well and do integration. I don't know.
Okay, good. Thanks.
So who else had their hands up? That's one and eager. Oh, yep.
Yeah, I think I'm similar to this gentleman in that I had already created databases that I use with clients. My interest, however, is in social science research. I work with a lot of nonprofit organizations who are running programs and projects that don't have time to really design databases. So when we conduct evaluation studies, the first thing I do is use Zoho Creator as a learning platform to give them an understanding of what they're collecting and at the same time help design, in some instances, very rudimentary databases that can grow. So for example, over the last 2 days, I've been working on a database. I had 10 spreadsheets that were sent to me by a project director that I was able to merge and actually import, and I'm actually now putting the final touches on that data management system so that we can now take a look at who they've been serving over the last 7 years. So that's pretty much how I've been using it. And I think today was helpful because I'd never did any type of programming language. So Deluge was definitely helpful. I don't know how I'm going to use it quite yet, but I feel like it's something that I feel like I have a foundational understanding for, and I will be online to look for any additional resources that you have. And I think one of the recommendations that I would have liked, that like a tip sheet or something that I could have held on to that I can take away from this session so that when I'm back in my office, I could at least go back through some of the steps that we went through without having to go through a video or go back online. Yeah. So that's how I'm using it.
Good feedback. Thank you. Actually, I'm going to interject for a minute. I've been talking to a number of people here and in the other room as well. So you have people who come with different intentions here. Some people are coming to learn the language themselves or learn Creator themselves, understand how they can apply it for their business. Some people come in to see the scope of what can be done, and there are a lot of you who come in here to see the scope of what can be done. You may not necessarily do it yourself, but you want to see what can be solved. You have a notion of a business problem you had before you came in, and maybe you didn't find a solution that actually made sense, or tried some and it didn't work out, or you find some existing inefficiency that you want to sort. And you come in and you see if this makes sense, understand the scope of it. So I wanted to point out how you can navigate that process yourself. So you could, for instance, work to learn Creator yourself, or some part of your organization has a development group that understands how to do this and build it for you. The other way to work within the Zoho system is you come here, understand if you're the right tool, understand if we're the company you want to work with, and then you engage with some of our partners. There are quite a number of them here today, and I've had a number of people come up to me and ask me, okay, I think I have a business problem that can be solved by what you offer. Maybe it's Creator and some other things that you do, right? And I quite don't know how to structure that yet. You know, I want to know if this is, I don't get a sense for it. I'm not, that's not my job, you know, so I want someone else to help me with it. So you could do a couple of things. You can talk to a few of our experts here, but they tend to be more product experts. I would say look for people with the greens. You've got another day here. And I've actually talked to them as well and informed them that we have people looking for such needs. So watch such people, talk to them. Maybe next time around we'll do something a little bit better. We'll introduce some of those people with specialties ahead of time, so you get a sense of, you know, what their specialties are, the kinds of problems they've solved, the industries they have expertise in, okay? But I encourage you to do that. We've also brokered some meetings, one-on-one people. So if you want such people, come find me, you know, and then we'll figure out a way to get your things sorted before you go.
Vijay, we actually had a question back here. I'm right over here. Back.
Yeah.
Actually, I just want to congratulate you for what an amazing experience we had, at least personally. And the only feedback is to say maybe next year you could do different industries. Because some of us are from the education industry, and then we don't find the pizzas or whatever very related to the problems that we have or the lack of knowledge that we have on how to use some of the tools that you have. That would be very, very good and satisfactory.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else? I know we've got some snacks and refreshments. Anybody else wants to share what they got out of this, or what the problem they came with, and how they'd like to see it get solved? Yeah.
My organization works with health insurance and helping people like enroll in the new Affordable Care Act. And one of the business problems that we kind of have a different software solution for is scheduling them for like enrollment appointments to work with insurance agents. And so, you know, it's outside of our CRM, and we use Zoho CRM quite heavily right now. So we were coming here to kind of replace or build an app to replace the scheduling feature, and also integrate with the CRM, also maintaining like HIPAA and high-tech compliance, because that, you know, Zapier or other connections that are available don't quite have that standard. And I have definitely come away with kind of like a lot of questions of other possibilities to go to, but I'll definitely second, like, in the next time that you run a conference like this, maybe switching up the industries, or in the form that you collected of kind of why you're here, having like, you know, some industry toggles that we could use. Because the pizza order was definitely hard for me to frame how I would do it, but certainly like the schedules, notifying our clients that their appointment's about to come, or like using the form and then publishing it so that they can, you know, do the intake form and schedule themselves is really great, and definitely this has been fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Behind you.
I definitely agree. Maybe just changing on the industry. I come from an agricultural industry. The pizza, I mean, I could kind of utilize certain aspect of it, but one thing is definitely if there's any way to bump up the service on customer support for the creator. Again, going off on agriculture, we start at 5 o'clock in the morning, we close 9, 10 o'clock, so that time frame does kind of work in a way to get support, but then there's times that there's a large delay, either for phone calls or for what's it called, chat.
Yeah, or email.
So definitely that would help. I know that with email there is a little bit of a faster response, you know, but on average it's about a 48-hour turnaround. So
That's too long.
a little bit more stronger support from the customer end. That'd be great.
Can you tell us a little bit what you're using Creator for?
Well, we started off in January. We actually stumbled onto this. A former employee was utilizing this, so we kind of stole the idea. And but this definitely is like a wildfire because it's needed in our business in agriculture. Is we utilize it with our foremans, people out in the field where they're actually, as they're baling or as they're cutting or as they're harvesting, instantaneously the owner's able to see the production. At that time, he could then make executive decisions to whom sell the quality. So it helps. It helps, and it cuts down. It's cut down at least 90% of the time consumption in office because there's no loss of paperwork. So it helps tremendously, you know. And as for me, I need a little bit more support. I have a better understanding now, you know, and quite exciting, you know.
Did you walk away with something in these 2 days that might change something you do in the way you're modeling or processing your work?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm already thinking of different ways to change our current apps and make them better.
Well, I think it's about time. I think I might just go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give a nice warm round of applause for Vijay and Dylan.